Hello, beloved. It's me, Robin Hallett, intuitive healer and light sparkler at robinhallett.com. And this is Tea with Robin. On today's episode, the wheel of suffering. How do we take ourselves off the wheel? How do we recognize there is a wheel? How do we help ourselves choose how our experience is for us? Our inspiration is welcoming wonderment, on staying open to miracles, expecting the good, changing our tune, and looking out there in the beautiful world, expecting to see something good. And we'll have a letter from #family together, all this and more. Come grab a cup of yum yum and meet me here. Well, hello, gorgeous friend. It's me, Robin. Welcome back to the podcast, Tea with Robin. This is episode 96. And hello, 96. How are you today, friend? And I should say, if you're listening for the first time, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. This is an awesome place. I hope you love the snacks. The people are amazing. This is what we call the love posse. And just imagine right now a group of beautiful hearts and souls all around the world saying hello to you now. Hello, welcome. So hi, welcome friends. It's a beautiful, breezy, sunny day here, and I hope you will indulge me that I have the window open, so we might be getting some street noise. May it just add to our ambiance, Add to the ambiance. So seriously, how are you? How is the weather in your heart today? Always my prayer is that you are being so kind and gentle with yourself, loving in your heart, choosing the perspective that love is always here. That no matter what is happening in the world or in your personal journey, no matter what you are facing, if it's struggles, if it's challenges, if it's just, the grind, that you remember that love is always here. Love is always viral, I like to say. It's viral too. And change is always possible. And that's what we're going to talk about today, transformation and change. So many blessings and love I send from my heart to yours right now in this moment. Did you receive it? Really, what would it be like to stop and place your hands on your heart and receive? Allow yourself to take that in. Over here, it's a gorgeous day. It's a beautiful day. I've just finished morning magic with the Love Posse. I'm there every morning at 9 a.m. Chicago time on Instagram. You can find me in the link below or on my website or Robin Hallett on Instagram. Celebrating this journey, and it changes you when you choose to show up and practice receiving. It changes you for the good. It changes you for the higher, the bigger, the wider, the deeper. It makes change happen. And so today is a beautiful day. I'm feeling happy in my heart. The birds are chirping. I hear the fountain in the garden. It always sounds like a man is peeing in my garden, though. I need to work on the on the water sounds, let's just say. It doesn't always sound so gurgly and wonderful. Oh boy, I hope this gets left in, Robin. Don't edit that out. So let's raise a cup of cheer together. I have some iced coffee and a nice glass of crisp, bubbly water. I love it. Here's to you. I want to tell you something. You're beautiful. Inside, outside. You're possible. Past, present, and future. And you are a miracle. Meaning, shift is always possible. You make change happen just by giving your focus somewhere. You change things. Cheers to you. Ooh, let's have another one. Okay, one more. Yummy, yummy, yummy. So good. If you've been here listening these last many episodes, you know that I am talking about what's going on in the world and always how what's happening on the outside is pinging what's happening on the inside. You know, we never do this transformational work alone and on our own. It's never just happening to us or just out there in the world. Everything's happening at once. And so this is that time where, yes, if your personal stuff has been coming up, let's say you haven't been feeling safe. Let's say you've been worrying about the reemergence of COVID as, you know, in areas where it's been slowing, the growth has been slowing and things are reopening, and now you're hearing about things closing down again because we're having another surge. You're getting scared, or you're learning more about, you know, Black Lives Matter, trans lives matter. You're paying attention to the news in China, the news in the White House. You know, that I'm going to stop there. Okay. Just saying, there's a lot. Okay, wait. The reactionary people freaking out, protecting their property, getting scared, you know, whatever you're seeing happening. Here's the thing. The outer will ping the inner. And when I say outer, I mean the world out there. And when I say inner, I mean your inner landscape. There is an impact. And even if you say, you know, I don't watch the news. A lot of people will tell me privately that they're ashamed to admit that they don't like to watch the news because it upsets them. And I think there is this knowing now that it's not enough to just say that. we feel the call to be awake and aware and to know, but also like turning off the news doesn't help you not feel stressed, because it's bigger than that. Everywhere you go, even on my bike ride, there are signs on almost every lawn in certain neighborhoods saying different things. So it's hard to not be aware that something's going on, you know? So keep in mind that the outer pings the inner. And if you find yourself struggling right now, suffering, I call it the wheel of suffering. We go on the wheel of suffering. Let me set the scene for you. Imagine a person throwing knives at somebody spinning on a wheel. In the movies, you know, or a vaudeville act or the circus act with the knife throwing, spinning on a wheel. Yikes. Throwing knives on a spinning wheel. And, you know, just picture yourself. I know it's not the best image, but picture yourself on the wheel spinning. When we get scared, when we get upset, we go up on the wheel of suffering. There's a whole spinning thing going on. And when we find ourselves getting upset, we're noticing how things are escalating out there. Watching people waving guns on the news this week, you know, that was one for me that's really sticking out right now in this moment. It triggered a place in me that also felt unsafe growing up, unsafe. I have many experiences of not feeling safe, not feeling protected by people who were supposed to be doing that for me. So you find yourself spinning on the wheel of suffering. And when you can, you know, my prayer in talking about this is that something sticks. And the next time it happens, you're like, oh, maybe you'll remember me telling Robin and the wheel of suffering, you know. So picture there's this corny, the unicorn is spinning the wheel, you know. Do you remember spinning the wheel from Wheel of Fortune or The Price is Right? Picture a sweet unicorn spinning that wheel for you. And maybe that sweet unicorn is really your highest self. your truest, biggest self, holding on to that wheel, able to stop it too, and extend a hand to you and help you off the wheel. This is the practice that we can get into. The visual of you with your arms and legs strapped to the wheel, spinning round and round, somebody throwing darts at you. You're thinking about the fearful stories, things escalating, this sense that there is a lack of empathy out there. You don't know where to turn, you don't know what to do, or you're worrying about your personal journey. So many of you are dealing with things, life and death things in your personal life, or you're afraid for your jobs, you're afraid for your bills, you're worried about abundance. All these things, they put us on the wheel of suffering. And so picture yourself up there going around and round. It's kind of like one unending cartwheel. Last week I was talking about the gravitron. Today I'm talking about the wheel of suffering. It's like doing one unending cartwheel. And the big question is, do you know that you can get off? You can get off that wheel. You can take yourself off the wheel. Do you know that? Do you believe it's possible to stop the spin? To stop yourself from spinning? There's only love here. There's no judgment here. There's no, you might ask yourself some of these deeper questions and feel a sense of shame. You might feel embarrassed to realize something. And if those feelings come up, hug yourself tighter, love yourself deeper, and know that there's a friend here, right here. Hi, me. My hand is in the air right now, loving you, fiercely encouraging you to keep going. The small-minded pockets I can fall into in an hour is astounding to me sometimes. And what did I say? This is episode 96. I'm going to have to look up the episode where I have talked about my own anxiety for so many episodes here. I'm hearing episode 19, so we'll have to look that up and see which one that was. But so much suffering, months and months and months of not being able to sleep well. I have been there too. Pockets and pockets of suffering, and the small-minded stories that I can get into. And when I say the small mind, I'm talking about our ego. I'm talking about our pain body. I'm talking about the one in me that believes I'm separate from everything else, and the bad things always happen to me, and this and that. That's what I'm talking about. Okay? You get upset, you get worried, you get into stinking thinking. You get upset with a friend, somebody doesn't, do something the way you want it. You get involved in other people's drama. Something's happening to you and you end up feeling guilty. Just the same old story keeps coming back to you. Whatever it is, you're on the wheel. Do you know you can take yourself off the wheel again? You can remove yourself. You can say, turn to the unicorn standing by. That's you. That's your highest self. Corny the unicorn really represents, that character represents your highest and best self, the one in you connected to God. And I always say, even Corny has struggles knowing that he is a spark of the divine. He's a freaking unicorn. He's magical, and he doesn't always know it. That's the practice right now, is do you know you can get off the wheel? And I would like to exit the ride is a beautiful thing to start saying. Hello, I'd like to exit the ride. Stop now, please. Stop. Put your foot down and stop. I think about times when, oh boy, anybody know what the bed spins are? Oh yeah. Lots of experience, a lot of field research with the bed spins in my younger years, for sure. I still remember how that was. You put a foot on, if you're laying down, you can put your foot on the ground and the spinning stops. It's really something how that stops the energy from going. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to practice, because I've been hearing from so many of you, and I know it's not everybody, but if it's not you, maybe you have a friend, a sibling, your partner, somebody in your sphere that this is going to be helpful for. So I hope you'll stick around and keep receiving. We are doing this work of waking up, and I've been getting so many letters from people, and it's almost even out of sorts what I'm hearing sometimes, the way people write me, and they're talking about things like there is fear, there's terror. It's almost, some people sound like this is triggering a sensation for them, like the zombie apocalypse is coming. And it's okay to be afraid. What I want us to do is acknowledge it, acknowledge how we're feeling. You think if you acknowledge your fear, it's going to get worse, but it's like putting a foot on the ground and it stops the spin. That's what ends up happening. We have a small victory. We have a small win. And that's the hard work of waking up, is it takes time. Transformation is not easy. And we don't always vote that we're in for the transformation, do we? We didn't necessarily raise our hand for COVID, like consciously. Please bring on a pandemic. Please effectively shut the world down. Please, bring the unrest and the stories, please, you know what I'm saying. But we have been praying for change. We have been praying for shift to happen. And we have been praying for equality and for the end of separation. If you really sit with the things you were focused on, even if you think, I am the most selfish person in the world, I only ever think of myself, and it's always about me, and my focus, there's so much going on in my own life, and my focus is really just about me, and yeah, I feel kind of guilty, but that's where I'm at, that's so honest. But you too have been praying for change and transformation. And in my way of seeing things, the energy is like, yeah, you can't get one without the other. You can't pray for greater ease and abundance without also amplifying the energy on where there's inequality in the world. So enough people have been focused on things that it's all coming out now. Does that make sense? It's all coming up now. So keep in mind that as you are making your moves and as you're catching yourself caught in a moment of struggle, and I get, for you, it's probably been fewer and fewer. You're getting better and better at this process. Those of you here receiving, practicing with me every week, you are new, aren't you? It's getting better and better. You're in the process of transformation. Shift is happening. And so even if you feel like you could be doing more out there, knowing that you're doing your work in here, inside your own heart, you are addressing so many things that are needed in the world. You're liberating light in your own heart. Every time you get off the wheel of suffering personally, you help the world take a deeper breath. And that is the truth with a capital T. There are people who will tell you that's BS, But this is a time where you need to decide who you're going to listen to. And I vote that you always listen to the resonant heart in you, the one that is beating with God, because you are a spark of the divine. And when you hear what I'm saying, if it lights up in your heart, then you know it's true. Does that make sense? Then you know it's true. This is you and your awakening. Last week I was talking to you about the 180. Choosing to do a 180 on every story you carry about how you're suffering or you don't feel safe. You know, that's been a big issue for people. Or you feel worried, you know. The word safety might not resonate for you, but pick your word. You feel concerned for friends or family members. What does the 180 look like for you? And if you didn't hear that episode, the 180 means to apply a turnaround. Not just look for the opposite statement, but to see how a much fuller, bigger experience of what it is that you've been focused on. And like for the person who hasn't felt safe in their town or their neighborhood, you know, there have been some unrest. There's a lot going on in Chicago right now, and there's definitely a feeling like you wouldn't want to be driving your car in the south side of Chicago. Well, what about my friends who live there right now? I was talking to a friend of mine last week. You know, they can hear literal bullets at night sometimes. What are we doing? We're going to apply a practice. Instead of, I don't feel safe, call on safety and know that I am safety. Here's the interesting thing. You are a spark of the divine. You don't get to decide to practice that in times where you're feeling good. And then when you're afraid or you're worried or there's been that diagnosis or there's been that illness or that surprising twist where you lost your job, you know, whatever it is, you don't get to not practice there, but practice in the good times. That's not how this works. You're in for all of it. And even though, you know, the terror is so real and so big in your mind, in your body, your heart is pounding, you are still that one who is connected to God. And the Course in Miracles says, love created me like itself. Kindness created me kind. Safety created me safe. It's about calling these feelings to you and listening and using your discernment, not from a place of terror. Discerning. The Course in Miracles says, here in my defenselessness, my safety lies. And what that means is when I don't defend my terror, but it's real, I hear the bullets, when I don't keep myself in that place of, but the diagnosis is there, the tumor is on the x-ray, you know, but they let me go and I don't know how I'm going to pay the mortgage next month. When I don't continue to defend my fear, keep staying in my fear, but this is the evidence, this is what's happening. Yeah, but that's defending it. That's staying in it. When you exit the wheel, when you put your foot down, when you say, I am loving awareness. Does anybody remember that episode? I'm going to put all these in the show notes. If you just go to robinhallett.com/96, you will get these other links that I'm talking about. I am loving awareness. This is where I find my safety, remembering who I truly am and the truest truth. Does that make sense? The truest truth. And, you know, what is the truest truth? You, my friend, are a spark of the divine. You come from God. You exist as You, in this life, of course, you know yourself as this one here. But you are God expressing the God self through you in this lifetime. And that means truly there is one in you who never suffers. There is one in you who is never separate, never other, never oppressed, never vulnerable. And, you know, this journey is a practice. Of course, I don't remember this every single day. Forget every minute, forget it. But this is the practice we're waking up to. If I notice my suffering, if I notice that I've been struggling for the last hour in my head about whatever the stories are, personal, global, whatever, can I say to myself, stop? Can I say, this is suffering? I see you suffering. Stop. Put your foot down. Extend a hand to the unicorn waiting at the side of the wheel to escort you off the wheel. Stop. And then you can apply a practice. If you have a favorite practice, if you have a favorite knowing, something that really soothes you or reminds you or opens you up, you know, right in this moment, you know what I'm hearing? You raise me up. Is that Josh Groban? You raise me up so I can. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. Friends, that's what happens when we exit the wheel. Nobody's saying these things aren't happening in the world. Nobody's saying that you don't feel upset. Nobody's denying your fear. Nobody's saying you don't have a right to be scared. I'm encouraging you to make the choice. Exit the wheel. Exit the wheel. Exit the wheel. And you know, that was a big truck going by just there. And you know, you're the only one that can do that. Nobody can force you to do it. As best I can do, if you're with me, is remind you of everything I'm saying now. Friends in session know this about me. We practice together. What does it look like? The freedom story around this upset. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What do you notice? What do you taste, touch, smell when you try on the opposite of this thing happening? When you try on the world healing, when you try on global awareness, global healing, when you try on safety in your community, in your neighborhood, safety for every child, parent, adult, grandparent, you know what I'm saying? Every citizen of the world. What's it look like? Equality. What's it feel like? You can try these things on. You can use your imaginal ability and your brain and your nervous system. And this is science. This isn't me pushing hoo-ha up your hoo-ha. Oh, God. You know what I'm saying? This is, you know, this is shown in studies. When we imagine it, the brain thinks it's happening. This is why we want to practice in this direction, beloved. This is why we want to practice in this direction, my friend. I'm just looking at the clock and it's 3:33. Isn't that fun? So, just to wrap this up, this is the practice before us. To make the choice with regard to our suffering, to not suffer by helping ourselves out, and trusting that you are liberating light within yourself and it's going out to the world. So making the choice to not just be freaked out or in hopeless despair helps the world. And extrapolate on that in all the other areas of your life. It's true. And these little victories, I call them little victories. The truth is they're all huge. Every time you make the choice to get free, you do something ginormous and miraculous. But this is how miracles build. They build one on the other, and one day you realize you're doing things you never thought possible because you started practicing. So instead of worry, make the choice. Instead of fear, make the choice. Help yourself out. Love yourself. And if all else fails, sing the song, Don't say, you raise me up. Say, raise me up. Get me on the mountain. Do it. Help yourself. You are so loved. And the benevolent energy of this universe has your back. Has your back. Wants to assist you. Gotta ask, Gotta play to win. And somebody is certainly playful today. Am I right? So why don't we have some more yum yum and talk about this week's inspiration. Last week we talked about the 180, which is choosing that turnaround, choosing that other perspective than the one I normally always go with, choosing something different and letting that be my practice so that I start to remember automatically. And I'm seeing that happen. And the friends who I connect with who are listening along and sharing their feedback, I'm hearing how this is happening. So this week, I'd love to build on that momentum and talk about miracles, expecting miracles and staying in this miraculous momentum. So I'm kind of, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm kind of all about the miracles. I'm all about letting the universe surprise me. I'm about experimenting instead of forcing my own plan. I'm about letting go and seeing what wants to arise. Even though I get scared, even though I have a controlling tendency, there are many controlling bones in my body. There are anxious bones in my body, and I can worry and fret about things. But more and more and more as I practice, I love the feeling of surprise me, show me the way, let me know, talk to me, And at the heart of that, I guess, for me is if I'm talking like that to the universe, I always like to, it's like have the wink back, So when you see the magic numbers, I'm somebody who's like, yeah, I'm winking at you too. High fives back to you, to my angel posse or to the universe. I'm just knowing it's benevolent energy loving me. And it's such a gorgeous reminder that, if I can practice allowing this co-creative process, then it really is like what I want, I can create. Manifesting works in powerful ways. And today I've been talking about unconscious, stress, but let's talk about some fun manifesting for you, okay? Fun. More and more as we do these practices that we're about here and morning magic, and we're practicing remembering that we are sparks of the divine and we have power. We have ability to create, and we are always creating. And the truth is we don't always like what we're creating, so becoming a conscious manifester is really important. It's realizing that, like Paul Selig, the guides would say, I am in accord with everything I see. So what I'm giving my focus to, I am agreeing with. And that doesn't always feel good, especially when you can draw some really big examples going on now, and it almost doesn't even work for us. But when you think about things like, my life isn't amounting to anything, and I never get anywhere, and people don't appreciate what I do, and nobody ever thanks me, or I'm worried about COVID and my job and things like that. It's much easier to practice on. So let's stick there. What we give our awareness to expands. And if you're stepping off the wheel of suffering, if you're recognizing, I don't want to be thinking this way, I don't enjoy these feelings, and I do notice the more I think about it, the worse it gets, the more I align to it, the more evidence I see. So let's practice in the other way. What do I want to be in accord with? Again, this is that 180. All right, I don't want to be a loser, and I don't want evidence that I'm a loser. So how can I focus on the beauty and the expanse? Even if I am worried about world events, instead of just being in alignment with the fear and the terror and the tragedy, how can I choose to see the healing? How can I choose to see the co-creation in so many ways? So, teeny tiny example of this is, if you believe you are blessed, and I do believe that, and I do feel that the essence of the universe is expressing itself through you always. So why don't we do this in a direction of delight? Let's play with our manifesting delight this week. I think we could all use a little bit of that. And honestly, I feel it so strongly that our mental health, really, we need to be focusing there, especially if you're somebody serving and helping and speaking and engaging and learning and all these things going on now. You've got to also be thinking about your mental health. So I've begun riding my bicycle. Riding my bike is something fun and different. It reminds me of when I was a little girl. I was always on my bike. I had the banana seat and those high handlebars, and my bike was green, like this mossy green, or like a green apple green. Loved it. And white banana seat, and I had a white wicker basket on front with the colorful flowers, like zinnia or cosmos looking flowers. So much fun. And I still remember how we would tie playing cards, or we would stick styrofoam cups in the spokes, or playing cards you could clip to your spokes, and you have a whole fun experience. So bike riding, yes. I go out and I intentionally choose different places to ride, different places in the neighborhood to explore. And somewhere last week, I had been first in my garden. This year, I'm doing my own lawn mowing because that's one way I thought we could help take up some of the, help cut back on some of the expenses that aren't necessarily necessary. I could mow the lawn. It's been actually a total joy. And I'm even finding out that you don't need to mow every week. It's like every 2 weeks, it's still looking amazing if you're not constantly fertilizing and chemicalizing things. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. So I was out in the yard looking, and I noticed these really interesting plants coming up inside the daylilies, and they have these really neat waxy leaves, and oh, something like, how would I draw that? How would I paint that? What could I do with these? That kind of feeling. And so interesting. They reminded me of large size sedum, if you know that plant. And I became so fascinated by it and curious. And so instead of taking out my phone and taking a picture and using the Google app or the Plant Finder app or asking, I have a dozen gardening friends I could have texted a picture to and said, what is this? I said, I would like to welcome wonderment. I want to be in my wonder, in my place of wonder, my place of awe, my place of wonder. So right there, I just said, I can't wait to discover what this is. I kind of had a hunch, but I thought, let's play this game. Do you ever do this? Let's play this game, Spirit. Surprise me. Show me my miracle. Show me my shift. Change my perception. Show me how I can ask this question in a place of complete trust and fun. I'm not asking for $1 million or a liver transplant. These are things that, feel so much harder when you're really there. But this is how we get there, is that we start to sit with, let me play, and let me welcome with wonderment this miracle. So show me, Spirit. And for a few days, just every day, I would go out and look at the plants, and I would feel that excitement in my belly. Oh, do I sound like a dork right now? I would feel this excitement in my belly of, I wonder what it is. So wonderment. And I resisted the urge to look anything up. I was just playing along, playing. So one day, now here comes my bicycle. I ride my bike every day. I get out for an hour and ride. And even when it's 90 something out, it's beautiful because you're in a breeze. You don't feel it. And I love how I can stay in the shade and ride. It's just like being a kid again. But I explore different neighborhoods and go different places. And I was riding my bike down this road and I could smell a wafting fragrance, kind of like you have strong fragrances on the breezes, like jasmine. When I was in Bali, the frangipani trees, I can still smell that. I remember the jasmine flowers, lilacs for sure, and the privet hedge has a bloom that I can smell, but that one makes me sneeze. Well, I could smell, and bergamot, wild bergamot, I can smell that too from far away. Wow. So I could smell this smell, and it was like flowers coming for me way down the road. And I see this little park. There are some kids outside playing, and it says Rose Park. And rose is my favorite flower, by the way. Rose tea, rose flower, rose everything. And I look, and it's my little plant. I probably have 4 of these coming up through the daylilies, but this was like 100 of them. I'm not kidding. The whole, like 10 feet by 10 feet circle. And these were, the little flower heads were in bloom, and there were monarch butterflies, like so many. It was shocking. It was like, how can I deny that this is somehow miraculous? It is. That this is miraculous. You know how, like, sometimes friends will say to me in session, and I asked the question and I heard a name, or I saw a vision, or I walked down the street and saw the thing I asked to see, and then I didn't trust it. Do you ever do that? And then I didn't trust it. But I thought, am I making that up? Well, this was like the butterflies, these plants, they were all blooming. Rose Park. It was kind of hard to say I made that up. It just felt like, wow. So I did what any welcoming host would do. A welcoming host to miracles gets off her bicycle and inspects the scene, smells the flowers, takes a bunch of pictures, gets excited. And I thought, this is amazing. This is so amazing. And those butterflies, wow. And the big, big bumblebees. And I thought, that's it. I have got to get these into my garden, like a whole thing of them in my backyard. Do you know how my backyard floods? Well, the ground is pretty, forget grass. I'm not interested in grass much these days anyway, especially since I have to mow a half an acre plus the parkway. No, thank you. So we've been getting rid of our lawn for a lot of years. But now we just have what I'm calling the badminton court in the backyard, and the rest is going wild. And that's good because that's where it floods. Well, I thought this will be perfect for these plants. I have 4. I could probably move one over. I gotta find out what these are called. And then I said, no, this is the Welcoming Wonderment. This is the experiment. Just let's see. This isn't your final answer. This is just a little taste. So, a big little taste. So I rode my bike home and enjoyed getting off and looking at the plants in my yard and going, yep, these are the same ones. It's so exciting. Have I lost you? Are you still there, caller? It's so cool. So a couple days later, and this, TJ, are you listening, TJ? This goes out to you, TJ. Are you here today, TJ? Are you listening, my friend? I get a package in the mail. First of all, it's exquisitely written in the fancy writing that I love. So, of course, I saved that. And I am the biggest weirdo, but I love this about myself. If I get mail or a package in the mail, I carry it around with me for a day. So if you ever send me something and then you're like, I haven't heard from her. I don't know. I just get excited and I cherish the whole experience. So it sat on my table where I have tea and coffee in the mornings. And sometimes number one husband will be like, are you enjoying your package? It's like, yes, you know me so well. So I open it and guess what's inside? Are you guessing? Yeah, the seeds for that plant. I mean, there were a lot of sweet things there. Yeah, seeds for the plant. So the plant is a milkweed plant. Did you guess already? In fact, 3 different varieties of native plants for my area. This was so thoughtful for my area. And things I can grow in that backyard area that will bring the pollinators in. Isn't that cool? I brought the seed packets with me. And this is, can you hear them? This is so neat because it's a company. If we can't celebrate this as miracle and abundance, we are really sunk, my friends. Because these are the things that come to us to help us open our hearts and minds to these possibilities and to remember, to call it back to ourselves that we are creating the world we're in. So these 3 plants, common milkweed, that's what I saw. Prairie mimosa, doesn't that sound cool? And this one, I can't wait for it to grow because it's very funky looking. Prairie mimosa and prairie blazing star. Liatris, I know it by Liatris. I never knew it was called a blazing star, but I like it. Blazing Star, Mimosa, and Milkweed. And this company is the coolest company. Freedom Creek Seed Company. I'm going to put this tag in the link in the show notes. There was also some delicious honey from them in my care package, among other special items. And wow, so thank you again. Thank you, TJ, but thank you, universe, and thank you, Robin, and I wonder if anything is sparking for you in terms of asking for a miracle, staying open to the miracle, choosing the miracle, staying in a place of wonderment. And you might think, yeah. Like I said, it's not a liver transplant or $1 million or any of that. But the principle of the thing is there is no order of difficulty in miracles. One is not bigger than the other. One is not harder than the other. And where miracles do not occur, something has gone wrong. And that something going wrong is us. Our believer got broken somehow. So I encourage you to play with something today. Find your moment of wonderment and put it out to the universe. Surprise me, show me, play with me, tell me, guide me. And look, I feel so big and lighthearted this week compared to, it's been very lifting for me in terms of everything going on right now, all the stuff happening. This has been a huge lifter for me. So, let's give this a whirl, my friends. Apply that 180 to your thinking and also ask for a surprise. Stay in your wonderment. And you can be in your wonderment about everything, can't you? Yes, you can. So let's have some more tea. Friends, before I read today's letter, I would love you to share this episode on. There's a number of ways you can support the podcast, actually. Support the love I share every week here. There's a number of ways you can do that. One is to share this on. If you see me, share it somewhere on social media. Hit the like button and hit the share button and help this go a little bit farther. Maybe you can apply some of these principles in your own life and have your own miracles and be the example, be the teacher for your friends. That's my favorite way to support this work. Help a friend who needs to hear this. Share this on. And always I welcome a donation. You can buy me a coffee or buy one of the mugs I have in my Redbubble shop or, a course with me and sessions as well. I'm available for healing sessions. And I wanted to say that I now have an option if you have been impacted in this time, if you've lost work with COVID going on and any other hardship that you're experiencing, or if you're in another country where the exchange rate is just yikes, there is a link now in the book a session area that you can click and fill out the form, and you and I can have a conversation, work something out together. This is me also finding a way to make it work in these times. We all need to be flexible and roll with the changes, as REO sang, right? And this is me doing that. So for whoever needs to hear that today, I hope that feels helpful and supportive. Yes. So this letter, you know what? I'm just going to dive in. This goes out to you, Amy, and thank you so much for writing. And friends, I love to read your letter, and I can always use more letters, especially now. It feels like, there's a whole new world happening, and I could really use some letters related to these times. So if you have something, please write to me at hello@robinhallett.com. Hello, Robin. I'm so excited to write you this letter. I've been on the path for a while now, and I'm continuing to come into myself day by day. Your wisdom has helped me so much. For that, I am grateful. One of the areas I've been growing in is making space for myself, to breathe, to eat, to be, just as myself, to hear the whispers of God, to stand in my light, to share my insights, and sometimes just to be alone. I have a lot of caregiving responsibilities with 3 little humans, and I'm doing my best. I'm making great strides, but I know I need more. When my husband is home on nights and weekends, that's when I need to rest, restore, renew. And, well, he needs that too. Some days I'm better at getting what I need than others, but on the whole, it's a tender spot for me. So my question is, how do I find the space for myself amidst all of this? How do I get what I need and give my family what they need? How do I see the togetherness in all of this? Not me versus them. Not my needs versus their needs. But us. How do we all win? I love you so much, and I'm finally ready to hear the answer to this. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Amy. Thank you, Amy. It's wonderful. It's wonderful to hear where you're at with this, and I celebrate your awareness. So much awareness here. So I wonder, as you heard that back, what you heard in your own question that feels like an answer. What you've discovered just listening. What awareness is here for you now. And I love how you say, I'm finally ready to hear the answer to this. I so get that, because it's like a wild thing when we realize that other people are involved, and other people we are involved with have needs too, separate from us, just as much as us. And we are in a place of acceptance with that, even though we don't have the perfect answer. This is such a huge thing. And that's, in my mind, we've already floated over that barrier that keeps us in ego into oneness. We've already done that, even if it's not really fully conscious yet. I'm not talking to you specifically there. I'm just sharing everything that's coming to me here. We've moved into more of an awareness of oneness. There is no you or me. It's just us. And everything I do to you, I do to myself. And if I want rest for me, I have to offer rest to you, because we are one. So it's, in many ways, the way two-parent households work is, I go to work and you watch the kids. Then I go to work and you watch the kids. Or I go to work and you watch the kids. And then when I'm home from work, some format of that, but really it's like, then, okay, really, when are we all resting? When are we all honoring our needs? If there's never a break and never time set aside for free time or exploring time or solo time or resting time, how do we do it? And, for single parents, this is a huge thing. And just like, it's a huge thing. But also, there's an answer right in your question, which I just always find so awesome. You said, how do I see the togetherness in all of this? That is the answer, is to practice seeing the togetherness in all of this. So it's not like I get to rest once my husband gets home, which implies I only rest if my husband's home. Now I'm already in a struggle already. What if I see the togetherness in this all? And I honor the needs of all of us in every moment. I'm just honoring what is now. A lot of us feel like we want acknowledgement for what we've been doing while the other person's been away working, or the other person's been home taking care of the kids. Each of us is thinking about ourselves, and we would like some acknowledgement for all that we're doing. This is a very common pitfall. It's nothing to be, tripped up about or ashamed of or worried about, or it just is. It's something we realize. I'm living a first-person perspective in my own life, and you have these moments where you realize, I haven't thought about how it is for you, other person who I share a life and a family with. I haven't been thinking about you. And on the reverse, I also feel like you haven't been thinking about me, because you really don't know. If they tell you, that's one thing, but you really don't know. So that's why I said it that way. So your word, togetherness, is really key. Oneness, togetherness. How would it be to know that rest and restoration and renewal comes in every moment, with the kids there, with the poopy diapers, with the screaming and the throwing and the chaos, that I still can choose a perspective of rest, renewal, and restoration. Restore. Rest, restore, renew. What would that even look like? Does that seem impossible? Is anybody there going, impossible? She's only saying that because she doesn't have 3 little kids running around. I encourage you to try anyway. You're asking, how do I find space? This is the answer for you asking, how do I find the space for myself amidst all of this? Exactly. You find the space for yourself amidst all of this. So, in the spirit of togetherness, isn't there some way that when he comes home, we're still together, and I'm resting and restoring and renewing? And we know that. I did it alone all day, and now it's your turn to do it, whatever the it is. The diapers, the feeding, the toothbrushing, the story reading. I don't know. You know. But we're still together, and we're resting, renewing, and restoring together. Or you're off in your studio doing your thing. But maybe this separation piece, this piece of it's your turn and it's my turn, it's your watch and it's my watch. I mean, that is a convenient way to look at things. Obviously, we do run on time here in the mortal world. But let's keep that spirit perspective of it is togetherness. We are all in the matrix together, and I'm not God. I don't need to control the whole thing. It has a flow that is flowing. And my job is to continually check in with me and give myself these moments. Just like when you're alone with the kids, you don't have to be the carnival barker at all times for them. You don't have to be the lady with the lemonade stand, and then you're making popsicles, and then you're making sandwiches, and then you're, and it's stressful all the way through. And the whole time the thought is, when he gets home, I am so going to have my alone time. I've been there. We practice. Take your time in the now. Now is all we have. And the beauty in this, what I see for you and for your whole family, is that everybody attunes to this new way. Because what we witness, what we give our energy to, we become in alignment with. So this is you on top of that mountain, as Josh Groban was just singing to us a little while ago. this is us in a new, higher place with this. I hope this is ringing some bells, making some sense. So the biggest thing here for me is if I take rest, he doesn't get rest. If he gets to work, I have to work. If he wants to sleep in, I have to get up. If I want to sleep in, he has to get up, but also he has to work. It's just like this me versus you. There's always a loser and there's always a winner. So we need to change the game. And the game is togetherness. It's a we. And it doesn't take much shift, our kids are all grown up now. I still remember these days, and I didn't do it full time like you are. But I know that grind. But this is an energy that happens forever. Even after the kids are all grown, there's still things that happen. We're all just trying to wake up to how this works. So when your husband comes home on nights and he's home on the weekends, how would it be to be in this togetherness space and say, this is the time when we need to reconnoiter. It's the weekend, it's the evenings. We need to come together and discuss the plan. And every day can be new. So we don't have to be in these hard and fast rules about the nights are my time off. This is your time off, And I gotta say, lots and lots of parents, as I know fall into this, I love that you're thinking he's had a whole day of work. It's kind of also difficult. When is he going to get his time in? A lot of guys fall asleep on the couch. They have a couple beers and they fall asleep on the couch. And the mom's like, hey, this was my time. So obviously we need a new plan. And togetherness, this isn't working. So what can we stop doing in the evenings? Everything absolutely has to get done. What can we loosen up on? Can we make dinner at lunchtime instead of having to do the big cooking meal? Can we invent new ways of doing things? Can we brush teeth and wash face earlier if you're not eating anymore, the kids? Can we get into the habit of doing that after dinner so it's not such a production at bedtime? I don't know, but I invite you to open it up to see what can we do differently so that, like you said, we all win. I love that so much, and it makes me want to read you this poem from Shel Silverstein called Hug of War, and this is from the book Where the Sidewalk Ends. I will not play it tug of war. I'd rather play it hug of war, where everyone hugs instead of tugs, where everyone giggles and rolls on the rug, where everyone kisses and everyone grins and everyone cuddles and everyone wins. I love what you're sharing in your letter. I guess I just want to say you're really on your way anyway. You're doing amazing things, and continue your togetherness thread, continue your oneness practice, and take your rest in the moments. Mommy can park her chair outside with the kiddos and make a nice iced tea and relax right there. Soften her body, relax her shoulders, and, breathe and include herself in the mix. Remember, she's not just there as the cosmic cruise director for her children, as the camp counselor and the Wrangler and the laundry doer and the diaper changer and the bath giver. She's herself, and this self has needs. So, love, hopefully something in there resonated for you, and I appreciate this letter so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And friends, I love to shine a light or read your letter if you have some a response or something you want to expound on or something you want to share with the whole class. Remember your teacher would say, is this something you want to share with the whole class? Yeah. hello@robinhallett.com or use the links in the show notes. Well, loves, it is Friday, and it happens to be Friday, July the 3rd. So I'm expecting in a few hours the fireworks are going to be pretty fun. Not. You know, I'm to the point now where it's not really my favorite thing to hear the loud bangs, but I try and keep the perspective. I do. I hope whatever you're doing, if you celebrate in the States, if you celebrate, and you know, that you're enjoying your time and you're remembering to practice. This can also be a metaphor for choosing your freedom and your independence from your ego thoughts. And, you know, I know a lot of people are feeling conflicted about the holiday now because all of us aren't free. If one of us isn't free, and a lot of us are tuned into that energy. You know that song, none of us are free if one of us are chained. None of us are free. It's a beautiful song. And so I know a lot of us are conflicted about Independence Day right now this year. And you know what? Then claim your independence from the ego stories, the fear-based stuff, and do your work there, because everywhere you choose to practice helps the world. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And I'm sending you so much love, and I appreciate you being here every week, receiving. And, you know, let's not forget that the love is viral too. Always, always, always. So this has been me, Robin, always Hallett. I'm going to see you here next week or in a few minutes. Bye-bye. Life is very short, let's make the very most of it. You are a precious gem and I love you. Do, 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 do. We are here to shine and shine bright. You are a gem and I love you. Do, 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 do. Life is precious and you are a spark of the divine. So shine like you know it, rock it like you mean it, 'cause you really, really mean it, and mean it, and mean it, and mean it, and mean it. Don't let crispy people tell you that you aren't sparkly, 'cause you are, 'cause you are, 'cause you are. Thank you. I like that. I love it, honey. Thank you. Give me a kiss. Thanks.